Good morning, everybody. Wake up. How's everybody doing? Hey, like my little makeshift intro? Hey, I'm on a limited budget here. All right. So I hope everybody's doing great. For the sports folks, did you watch the game last night where Russell Wilson, who is now the quarterback of the Denver Broncos, played his old team, Seattle? Here, Mr. Swan. I tried to say Leon Swan. I said, here, Mr. Swan. It's early, but it's not that early. So they have the ball with like two and a half minutes at the end of the game. They run the clock out with 3 timeouts to kick a 63-yard field goal attempt. Good going, McCarthy. And Russell Wilson was very cool about it but the sportscasters were kind of drilling him like the biggest bonehead move of the, who I look at it as like what was the gambler thinking if they just took the money or whatever, the money line. What were they thinking? They're screaming, the clock's running out. They had over 2 minutes at their own 40 and 3 timeouts. And they're touting how good this coach is the whole game. It's priceless. Oh, McCarthy, blah, 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 McCarthy. His father's watching from New Hampshire, He got the bonehead. He gets today's What Were You Thinking award. So that's that. Let me see. Oh, you got my morning news? All right, here. Ta-da. Topic tonight's Eyewitness News. Crime is on the rise. People are going nuts, and people are running crazily through the streets. Don't call 911 because you won't get an answer. Okay? Let's see what we got going on. Hey, thank you for your support, I want to add. Thank you very much. That Antifa, that it's like what's anti-fascist or whatever. There's a Democratic-run town in North Carolina that's seeing violent crime spike. Now these cities made their bed and now they're sleeping in it, Then the Navy, who was punishing, the unvaxxed, they quietly reversed their position on it. Those great people in the military trying to do their job to support and defend freedom and people's rights are being told by, Gestapo tactics. They're defending the rights and their higher up is telling them, you got to be vaxxed or you're going to go in the brig. Really? So they quietly push that back. Why? Because it's election time? That dude from Memphis that was filming that shooting spree, he's due in court today. And, maybe he might get $500 bail. Who knows? Who really knows? And that Chicago mayor, that whatever her name is, or his governor, and she's saying, well, there's no, defund the police. Chicago, I believe it is. Yeah, they there's only like 35 homicides a day and violent crime. One of the highest cities in the country. Is she the one that looks like Michael Jackson doing the Thriller video? Is that Thriller? Is that Governor Thriller? I think it might be. and that other one, the white lady too. But go ahead, run them Democratic states to the ground. Run them to the ground. You voted for these people. Well, there you go. If there's somebody calling through your window, yeah, hello, 911. Yeah, I think somebody's crashing through the patio door. And hello? Hello? The number you have reached is not in service. Please try again. Thank you. Honey, you can't call 911. Well, get the Glock out. Get that semi-automatic out. We'll have to handle this ourselves. All right? Let's do the lines for football. Okay? I can't follow my notes, you know. Dean's List every semester I ever attended a college, and I can't follow my notes. Maybe I just don't need notes. Yeah, I need notes, believe me. I'm getting a little longer in the tooth, whatever teeth I have left. Communists. They're all communists trying to infiltrate our country. Come on, folks. But you know what? That's politics, and we're still going to have fun during our day. You know, we are still going to have fun. Because that's how we do it over here. Some of these are copyright, and I know I can't use them. I know I can't.
Those who rely on Medicare could be eligible for a healthy shopping benefit of up to $900 that is available now. Tap below to...
Great spiritual song by the great Jimmy Knight. No copyright issue here. Just a cool rock spirit song. Bear with me now.
Long before we had a choice. Long before we had a voice. Music was on your mind.
Talk to me.
Ever since the edge of time.
Hang in there, folks. Don't run.
Granted a special tune. Warm down in your mother's womb. It all started with God's only son, Jesus. It goes out to everyone.
Come on.
His song is love.
His song is love.
His song is love.
Let's go.
His song is love.
I love the melody. Ready?
Brother to brother from now on. Sister to sister, sing the song. Children.
Come on.
Mother and fathers, hear his call. Have no fear. I have overcome it all.
You could overcome it all too. All right? Whether you believe in Jesus or not, and if you're not into that kind of stuff, you can overcome it all. I'm going to do something about Mike Franzese also. I didn't forget, the thumbnail, piggyback the Mike Franzese gravy train for subscribers and viewers and all that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. What's that song about? Oh, love.
Brother to brother from now on.
Love each other.
Sister to sister, sing the song. mother and fathers, hear his call.
Have no fear.
I have overcome it all.
Come on.
Rhythm is in your soul.
You got that rhythm?
Happened long time ago. Long before we had a voice. Long before we had a choice.
Come on.
Music was on your mind. Ever since the edge of time. Granted a special tune. Forgone in your mother's womb. It all started with God's only son, Jesus. He goes out to everyone. His songs love.
The great Jimmy Knight. Good friend of mine. Great man. Talented. That family had so much musical talent. The Heights. I said your last name. The Heights. Much. Great people, great human beings, and great musical talent. His song is Love. You never hear that on the radio, but it's a #1 hit in my catalog. Okay. So, yeah. Now, we talk about Mike Franzese, and I didn't want to do any more videos and, speak on things, but if you're not aware of, but he was the man for the Colombo family that did the tax scheme and was raking in millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, one of the biggest scams ever, like, on earth. I mean, exclude the government and the Congress people scams. We don't get it. We won't get into that controversy. But when I was running around back in the day and I had to do certain things, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, when they were running the bookmaking operations and, gambling rackets, and, when you bring these guys packages or whatever capacity, they, who does the accounting on all that? Like, I mean, before he did the tax scam, Mike was not the traditional, Mike Franzese wasn't your traditional gangster. He's on YouTube as a big personality. He was so cerebral, and there was many. They're just not dumb mafia. They're just not big. There's some smart, tactical business people out there, and there's not many that rivaled Mike Franzese. And I got in hot water a couple times because I said a few things that I shouldn't have said. I was not a made man. And, sometimes cayunes get ripe and you say the wrong thing, and then, and then you do it again. But when I went down there, my godfather knew I was coming, and I hadn't even informed him that I was at that time, but he found out his godson is in Western New York. And it was like, what? He's running these errands for these people, and we're going to check it out. But he was very cunning, and and then people, I questioned some of the things he said on YouTube in past videos, but he, like, who cares? Oh, he's lying about this. He's probably one of the most stand-up guys that, there was a lot of stand-up guys that were, good people. Yeah, these gangsters could be good people. There's just regular people in society that sin also, and people consider them good people. They weren't murderers, okay, but and they still say whether he physically ever did a hit or not, Mike Franzese. I'm not going to speak on that, whether he did perpetrate it, And then they say, oh, you got to do a hit for initiation. No, you don't. No, you don't. You can make money, you get initiated. You got to, you know how to make money, and you're a smart guy, you could be an asset to them. You hear all this stuff on these social media platforms, and it's laughable at times, the feud between him and Sammy the Bull. And I asked my godfather as he got older in years and, about certain things before these guys were household. I mean, before they were visible, but, everybody, didn't, they didn't have the notoriety at the time. And my godfather, he was loyal to a couple of families, but believe me, if somebody put $25,000, $30,000 in his face, and he might freelance to do something for another family. Money talks, you see these gangster channels, and they say all these rules are just set in stone, and no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. And if you think you could hustle a couple dollars, if you could hustle some good money without the higher ups knowing it and everything. But my godfather said, ain't nobody my boss. If you want to hire me for something, and he did a lot of his things within two families, but that wasn't to say that he would have done work for another family. So, you get a lot of this narrative on social media that, it's just like story time. Gangsters, mafia stories. It's story times, it's story time, Billy and Sally. And it gets views, and hey, that's the hustle. Hey, it's another hustle. I try to tell things to the best of my recollection, and as entertaining as it can be, or as eloquently I can be a speaker on such matters. But Mike was very well groomed, very savvy. And I remember when I was in New York, and my godfather, I was delivering milk and bread, and my godfather was in the, he said, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, he was my godfather when I was born in Brooklyn, but I didn't get cards on my birthday or Christmas. But that still meant something to him, and it still meant something to me. And he said, well, yeah, boom, boom, boom. And he wanted to know the particulars of what was going on. And then he wanted to know, what was my salary? What was my bone? What was my piece of the action? And it kind of straightened that out real fast. And I didn't want trouble, even though I thought he wielded power. I was just thinking, don't get these guys mad. I mean, don't get them mad. And then he made some statements as to the effect, if anything happens to JoJo, shame on all of you. And he was with his Mike Franzese and the bodyguard and everything. I mean, Mike was very professional. Good man. And, I had some problems back there, and he felt for me. He's a sensitive guy. He's spiritual now in his older age, and he's a good man. He's a good man. But, you see these narratives, and I wanted to get away from the mafia stories. And I had a different story that I had on deck that I was waiting to attack that fastball. But yeah, I mean, I'm gaining subscribers here and there without doing gangster stories. And if you have Mike Franzese or Sammy the Bull in your thumbnail, it opens eyes, not morning show. Like, you know, my thumbnail might be morning show. So there might be 30 people in the world that see that thumbnail. But that's all I'm trying to, you know, accomplish here. But it's tough. It's a tough proposition because a lot of people have died and passed away. And, you know, when you're talking about somebody, they're not Johnny on the spot to defend themselves. I mean, they can't defend themselves. And, you know, if you want a fair fight. And maybe some of my information is incorrect. I'm not the end all of knowledge, and my memory gets scattered about such things. But it's hard to talk smack and try to put somebody down when they can't. They're not there to, and you know, YouTube's a rodeo, and it just goes. But it's hard to for people to defend themselves. I mean, you know, you want a fair fight. That's all. But yeah, that was very interesting time. We're gonna do the betting lines for the NFL.
There must be some kind of way out of here. Said a joker to the thief. There's too much confusion.
Think so? All right, let's try some betting lines. The late, great Jimi Hendrix. He played the guitar with his teeth. That was all along on the Watchtower. All along the Watchtower, something like that. I should know that after 40 years. But all right, let's see what the NFL lines are. Buffalo Bills, are they going to go undefeated this year? Oh, they're playing the Titans and a night game, Thursday night maybe. The Bills are minus 9.5, so that'll probably be 10.5 by kickoff, and the over/under number is 49.5. Why do they use the half? To make you laugh. Miami Dolphins are at the Baltimore Ravens. You know, Miami's got a tough defense, I believe. All right. The Ravens are minus 4, and the over/under is 45.5. All right. New England Patriots are at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a pick game, and the over/under is 41.5. So, you know, Belichick, I just don't want to bet against Belichick. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. You know, they don't have, but, you know, this guy's just a chess player. The New York Jets are at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are minus 6. The over/under is 42. Well, there goes everything, folks. You know, where's my producer and director and editor? I don't need one. You know that, folks. You know how we do it here. You know how we do it. We still get by, though. We still get by. Yeah, and that's the Baltimore Ravens at home against Miami. The Ravens are -4. The over-under is 45.5. Cincinnati Bengals. Wow, that Joe Burrow threw all those interceptions, and Pittsburgh come back and beat them 23-20, and they're all pointing the finger at Joe Burrow. Now, this is a game. They're at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, I'm not even sure if they got a quarterback. Who's their quarterback? I don't know. They're giving the janitor a tryout. I'm not sure. That game was a pick, but these lines were probably made prior. But mortgage your house and bet Cincinnati. I don't know. The over-under is 50.5. Might be an under game. Cleveland Browns at the Jets again. The Steelers and Patriots, that we already did that. The Houston Texans are at the Denver Broncos. Now, you see that game last night, the Denver Broncos, where their coach completely mismanaged the clock with 2-3 minutes left. They ran the clock out to try a 63-yard field goal. And that McCarthy's getting all kinds of scrutiny in the media. It's like, what were you thinking, bro? Did you bet on the game? Denver -11 at the Houston Texans. Now, you would just think Denver should just, with their defense and Russell Wilson gets more acclimated to the offense, you would just think Russell Wilson should just steamroll them. I wouldn't bet I wouldn't bet against him in that game. And the over-under is 44. You know, that could be 35-0 that final. I don't know. The Houston Texans, whoever they have. And now we got the Indianapolis Colts, who played like crap the whole game, and then they finally tied that game against the lowly Houston Texans. We got the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, they played Houston. They tied Houston. And now they're at Jacksonville -4 and 45.5. Well, if they're going to make a statement, a comeback game, Jacksonville is a very weak team, I believe. And -4, I mean, if that's a comeback game, it's tough to give points on the road. And so Indy's -4 at Jacksonville, and the over-under is 45.5. So Tennessee is playing the Bills. And they're at Buffalo, and they're getting 9.5. It'll probably be 11 or 12 by kickoff, and the over-under is 49.5. You know, Tennessee historically was a physical team with a tough defense, good enough to keep them in games. But the way the Bills look, they should just smash them all over the field. On a night game, I mean, I just think they continue the party. And then you got the Broncos again at Indy. Kansas City is at the Los Angeles Chargers. And there was no line at that game at the time. But Kansas City is home against the Los Angeles Chargers. And, Kansas, the Chargers, the Bills just whooped. But, Kansas City's going to be a big enough favorite. And you want to bet against Mahomes, I don't know. Sometimes he covers. The Raiders are home against the Arizona Cardinals. They're -3.5, and the over-under is 51.5. The Chargers in Kansas City. Dallas is home against Cincinnati. That's a pick, like I said earlier. The New York Giants are home against Carolina Panthers, and they're -2, and the over-under is 42.5. Low-scoring game. The Eagles, that wasn't out yet. The Washington Commanders, come on. The Washington Redskins are +2 at Detroit Lions. Now, Detroit made a lot of mistakes that game, and they hung in there with Philly, and they just might steamroll. These lower teams, it's hard to, tout them, but they did actually play tough. I mean, they didn't have defense, but they hung in there. They had heart. They displayed heart in that game. I don't know how much heart the Washington Commanders had, but Detroit displayed heart. I never thought I would say that, but I'm saying it. Chicago's at Green Bay, and they're getting 9.5, and the over-under is 44.5. Green Bay is home against Chicago, and they're -9.5, 44.5 is the over-under. Is Aaron Rodgers going to just come home to, good home cooking and just blow Chicago out? I don't know. Chicago's got a defense. Seems like they always have a defense. What else? Atlanta is at the Rams. They're getting 11. The over-under is 48. Carolina is at the Giants. They're getting 2, 42.5. And the Saints are home against Tampa. The Saints historically has had Tampa's number. And they're getting 4 points, and the over-under is 46.5. So that is that, folks. That is that. And, I hope you hit your parlays. I hope you get on a roll. And I hope y'all make a score. So that's what we'll do. And, I put Mike Franzese in the thumbnail. And, I'm trying to whore myself out for subscribers and views. And I want to get away from that. But, there's stories and stuff. But it's hard to talk about these people. And I've talked a lot of smack. Yes, I've talked a lot of smack. Who's lying? And, who cares who's lying? These people weren't altar boys. YouTube's a new hustle. It's another racket. It's another scheme. And I think Mike Franzese is honorable. He's a good Christian. And, him and Sammy the Bull. I mean, whose side are you on? In that stuff, and it's a fun game to play. Well, no, I believe this. No, this guy said this, and so he must be lying. Well, no, the FBI said this. So a lot of people believe the FBI, and they believe that 301 or 302 coffer, whatever that is, that supposed to have the facts. Come on, folks. So it's a big crapshoot out there, and a businessman gangster that, like, he was 3 moves ahead of everybody. He was 3 moves ahead of everybody, and one of the biggest earners, and he brought so much money. And I also wanted to state that when you got a scheme and a racket and all the other families find out about it and they want in, they're going to want in, or they're going to want a piece. I don't really know how much that he talks about, how much money he handed up or shared with other. I mean, he could finance an army of soldiers to defend his, his world. Yeah, of course. But a lot of money got passed around. And now if you're running a scheme and you're making $2,000 a week, and Bill comes up and says, "Hey, how much you making every week?" And, well, I'm making probably 500-600 a week, but you're making 2,000 a week. You know, you're not going to show your hand. Well, sometimes it varies in which it might, and it's just like they're not concrete answers. They're concrete questions, but they're not concrete answers. These people have the art of deception, and I mean, they could give you an answer that sounds just like the truth 100%, but it's still a little, you know, you're always thinking, I mean, I was a nobody, but you're always thinking, and well, what about this? What did I say to this guy? What about that? Well, he didn't act right. Well, you know what? That Robert, I don't know. He said some things and he sounded nice, but it didn't feel right. And then, you know, these gangsters and tough guys, they want to say that, you know, yeah, there's some crazy psychopaths running around that just don't care. They don't worry. They don't get an ulcer in their stomach. But to live a life like that where you're constantly on guard from your own people and from the law. And if you're a boss, how do you manage that when there's a target on your back from everybody? Everybody might shoot at that target on your back. So in human psychology and in human behavior, when you're just feeling that stress in any capacity of them organizations, because all that has to happen is, hey, Rick, you know, how much do you think that guy knows? Do you think he'd ever flip on us? And then all of a sudden the wheels are turning, and you know, a lot of people went down, a lot of their families suffered when their husband or their father or their brother or their son got whacked, got hit. A lot of people suffered. It wasn't just all bells and whistles like you see on TV and everything. It was all, you know, glamorous and all that. There was just so much destruction and hurt and the fallout from all that. I remember years ago, I didn't know nothing about nothing. And one people would come up to me and say, yeah, you know, I don't know what the hell happened. I'm the coffee boy. See, I'm the coffee boy. Me don't know nothing. No, I don't know nothing. They're not going to share that information with me. Some low peasant on the freaking pecking order, on the totem pole. They're not going to share that information with me. And I saw that. I saw them crying and being approached here or there after a war or whatever, after violence. And I wasn't made for that. And I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. I don't care. I went to school to be educated in business and everything else, and I don't need this crap. But they couldn't go to the regular people in the organization and ask them because, I mean, maybe some did, but they were like, oh, they saw me around here or there. Let's ask him. Oh, he was maybe buddy with this killer guy, and maybe he knows. Well, no, they don't say, hey, Jojo, listen, I'm going to go out and take care of this guy over here. Why would they tell me? Half the time, their own crew don't know when they're going to perpetrate a hit on something. So, you know, it's common sense. It's common sense. And a lot of people got whacked by their own people. You know, and Mike Franzese, he knew, he just had a good, I mean, he's in his 70s and he's still alive, obviously, and he made it. But I'm not going to sit there and question a lot of the things he talks about on his channel. I know one thing that's a fact. He's spiritual and he's a good man. And I saw tears in his eyes when the world was falling in on me and I made a couple mistakes. And I saw that the human part. And touched my heart. But then how far do you trust him and the people in New York, and then it's just like, well, you can't get too cozy with that because someone else could be gunning for you. So you're just living in stress and paranoia, getting an ulcer in your stomach, can't sleep. And that's why these guys sleep with a gun on their belly. That's why these guys sleep with a gun on the nightstand. Who wants to live like that? Is it really worth the money? But I'm sure Mike did some evil things. I'm not saying he's a complete altar boy, but I'm sure he did some whatever he had to do. I mean, that's that life. That's that life. But he made all those millions, and nobody will ever know the true amount. Everybody's running rackets and schemes and hustling money and everything else. And they don't advertise it like, okay, 30 years later it came out. Mike Franzese had the tax scheme on the gas and all that. Yeah, it came out. But you're going to hear so many different stories about the particulars and facts and or untruths that nobody will ever know. It's good entertainment. It makes good YouTube videos, but you'll never really know. You'll never really know. It's just speculation and entertainment. So, but he might have a big heart. And he's witnessed the fallout, his family, and, the personal things that happened to Mike's family that many people don't know. The tragedy that happened within his own family, Mike Franzese, God bless him. And he stays strong. He stays strong and spiritual. And he's seen it all from A to Z. And I'm not going to try to bash him, and who cares if you had to lie? Who cares? Who cares? That's the nature of the beast. I mean, when I was younger, you hear about certain people that you either know or family or whoever, and you hear about certain things, and you just could make your own assumption on it. And then when I started running a few errands, it was just like, wait a minute, that all sounded fine and dandy when you were just sitting home in your chair. But then if you're out rubbing elbows and you're in the mix, it's like, whoa, this is a different world. This ain't glamorous. This is, of course, there's a lot of fun times, and you think you could get close to a couple guys, and you got to be careful about that too. And there was fun, laughter, and joyous times. Yes. It wasn't just all blood and guts every day like these channels try to tell you. There was good periods. Yeah, they're all making big money. Yeah, they're all making big money. It just wasn't blood and guts every day. These guys their child was running up to them, daddy, and they're kissing their child, and they're, they were fathers. Just not, a gangster is stereotyped as a certain way, as a certain human being. And yet he might demonstrate some of those behaviors, but he also has other behaviors as in relationship with his family and those kinds of things. So, but you guys want to hear the blood and guts. You want to hear the violence, and that gets views, that gets subscribers, and that's understandable. But I can only piggyback that for so long because I believe in letting the dead rest. And I believe in that if a guy can't defend himself and you're talking smack about him, that's a punk move. It's a punk move. I don't want to be a punk. Whore myself out to try. Okay. Well, it's just a YouTube channel. Who cares? Get the viewers. I understand. And if Mike passes away tomorrow, I'll be thinking, why did I talk smack about him? Was that worth it, JoJo? People don't think about that kind of stuff. I do, because I'm a sensitive guy, all right? It's September 13th already. Beautiful sunny day today. Come to me and rest. Give your mind a break from its habitual judging. Yeah, I judge like a mofo. You form judgments about this situation, this person, that person, yourself, even the weather. I just talked about Mike, and then I talked about the weather. You can't make this stuff up. I didn't look beforehand at this. You form judgments about this situation, this person, that person, yourself, even the weather, as if you were judging your main function in life. But I created you first and foremost to know me and live in rich communication with me. When you become preoccupied with passing judgment, you usurp my role. Relate to me as creator to creator, sheep to shepherd, subject to king, clay to potter. Allow me to have my way in your life rather than evaluating my ways with you. Accept them thankfully. The intimacy I offer you is not an invitation to act as if you were my equal. Worship me as the King of Kings while walking hand in hand with me down the path of life. That's pretty cool. Relate that to some of the things I was just talking about and integrate that. There's an equilibrium there. And that's pretty cool. So I got another story. Whoever's been here this long, and I talk to an old timer once in a while, and he's saying, Jojo, you got to do some more videos. You're not going to get subscribed, But there's a couple psychopaths, and we'll leave it at that. And, if they whack somebody, there was like a death breath. And it's a morbid topic. The death breath, and then their soul and their spirit. But some of the psychopathic killers and guys, I don't know if it was fairy tale or just legend, but this guy had told me some things, and then I heard whatever. People get drunk and they start telling stories back then, and it's just gibberish maybe, but it's just like this thing that they were looking for when somebody's their death breath. I don't know, but I'll talk about that because it's I don't know. I guess I need some content. So well, that's that. I appreciate everybody that comes in here, and you want to be a good person. Being a good person is better than being a tough guy. All them tough guys back then are dead, or they died in prison. I gave up going to prisons to visit people. I gave up on it. No. So being a good person is the way to go. And people like blood and guts. But be the kings and queens of your world. Don't ever give up. Stay great and stay blessed. And share, like, subscribe, boom, 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 and all of that. I appreciate those that do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. And stay strong. If you need help, ask for help. It takes a stronger person to do that. And if you see somebody that needs help, try to help them out if you can. Sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. If you need somebody to talk to, you come in my commentary and I'll dedicate a whole show to you. All right? So let's try to help each other the best we can. Okay? Thanks for watching, and thank you for your support, my dear friends. God bless you. Stay great. Don't ever give up. We won't give up, okay? You guys have a great day. Bye.